Hello. 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 Hello.
Man, that was a glorious sound, wasn't it, to introduce to people while I haven't even done all of my, like, normal, you know, getting everything ready nonsense. Alrighty, where was I in my thingy? I think I'm done with the Discord and the telegrams and shit. I just want to get straight into the game at this point. Wait. There we go, okay. Yay, the controls are working. Hi there, everyone. So, to give some context, my goodness. Mandela effect, enjoy your rock band, thank you. I honestly I do not remember the game that I put on my wish list that you gift me. I was like, what the fuck is this game? Cookie for Bookie! Here's your cookie, Bookie! 1 minute left and there will be Zeebs coming up next. Yep. You keep forgetting Yakuza, Kiwami, and Zero aren't the same game. Yeah, no. Kiwami... Yakuza Kiwami is Yakuza 1, but it's utilizing the Yakuza 0 combat and shit like that. So, like, some aspects of it are very much like Yakuza 0, but not all of them. Also, you're super exhausted? No, I feel ya. Like, have you... I don't know if anyone else has had this at work, but...
Code the Yoshi
Ooh,
with the
thank you, Code!
29-month tier 1 sub. Hello, you big dumb zebra.
I'm a big himbo zebra, thank you very much. There's more to me than being dumb. But thank you so much for the 29 months. Cookie, once again for Bookie. Here's your cookie, Bookie. So yeah, I also have updated like the little like button for demonstrating all the different subs that are available to you, because it turns out I had way more animated emote slots. No, Code! Ah! I would like it known that it is never fine getting cactard. Where the fuck am I going? I think I'm going... I need to go into parks or something like that. Finger slipped. Sure it did. Sure it did. Thank you for the peck dent. Alright, so we gotta fight, like, the red, white, and blue gangs. Oh, yeah. How was my day? So, alright, my day. I wanted to get in on that. So, have you ever had at work, like, you know, your actual workload isn't stressful or anything like that? Like, it is, like, maybe it was, like, a little bit, like, more workload, like, in an hour span, but then it's, like, you know, quiet for a lot. I'm being serious here, Bookie. Why you gotta steal my shirt? Oh, ow. Fuck you. Everyone's hitting the fucking redeems. Here I am, ready to pour my heart out about my day and shit, and everyone just wants to fucking dunk me. But yeah, so have you ever... Oop. Oh, that fucker has a knife. Got him. Alrighty, let the man speak. Thank you, Code. Listen to my humble moderator as after they threw cactars at me and everything like that, and they're just sort of like, let the man speak. Alright, Happy Hearts Day. Oh yeah, it's Valentine's Day. I totally forgot about that. I'll say more things about that
Onyx
later.
_Severus paid me to say Grant sexy.
Eh. Yeah. Alright, so. Alrighty. So, have you ever had one of those work days where the workload itself was not stressful? Like, maybe it was a little bit more in, like, say, in like an hour-long session or something like that, but then it's like, you know, that, you know, lightened up the workload, like, in the next hour for an hour or two or something like that. Like, it wasn't anything, like, super stressful. It wasn't like you were just intense for, like, 7 hours straight or anything like that. You had your highs and lows in the day, but somehow it was still a stressful work day because, like, everyone else might have had, like, a stressful workload or something like that, and so then you're going through your day, you get to the end of the day, and you're like, oh my god, I'm so stressed. Yes, but then when you try and be, like, you know, critical of, like, oh, why were you stressed? Like, did you do more work? And it's like, no. Was someone, like, you know, making you stressful? It's like, no. And it's just like, well, why were you stressed? And it's like, well, because everyone else was stressful. Has anyone had that? Because that's what it felt like for me today. Like, I could not point to you, like, after experiencing the day of, like, oh, was it, you know, this sort of a thing? Was this more stressful than normal? I'm like, not really. Like, that's part of my job.
Bookster with the 5-month tier 1 sub. Keep talking, I'm still listening.
Thank you for the 5 months. I know it's taking me 5 months to get through this conversation, but yeah, so, like, my morning was a little bit, like, you know, there was a bit of stuff to do, like, at, like, 9 and 10 a.m., but I got that shit sorted, and then it wasn't, like, you know, too intense until, like, lunchtime, I want to say, and then I had my lunch, and then from, like, 2 till 3, it was, like, a little, like, there was a little bit more work to do than, like, normal around that time, and by the time it got to, like, 3:30, I was just short, I was just stressful a little bit, And then, you know, it gets to 4 o'clock and I'm like, right, 4 o'clock. I'm out of here, boys. Always see you, bye. And just like, and then I'm just like, hang on a sec, I can do this. At like from like 3:59, I am totally here. Absolutely, whatever you need. It hits 4 o'clock. And then I'm here. I'm home by about like 5 p.m. or something like that. But yeah, it was I don't know, like it just felt stressful. And then when I think of like, oh, what could it have been? It's like, well, maybe it was the fact everyone else was like, I don't know why I was stressed or something like that. And it didn't like, and I know there was like, I was seeing notifications at like 4:30 basically of like a person from another department being like, hey, why are you guys doing it in this method? And it's like, I just didn't want to take part in that thread. Like, I don't know if it was like, a thread that I should take part in or not, but I didn't take part in. And I just get like the little notifications going off at like 4:30, where it's just sort of like, bing, you got, of like, person says this. Bing, manager says that. Bing, response. Bing, response. Bing, why do you do it like this? Bing, that's how you told us to do it. Should we not be doing it this way? And it's just like...
Y_Y 9945 paid me to say I always worry when they hyper him bod you because you could burst like a ball full of air tongue pee.
Oh, that won't happen. Also, hi there, Incineroar. Check this shit out. Hang on a second. I can fix this. There we go. All right. Check this shit out. You're not ready for this. You ready for this? You ready for this? You ready for this? Oh, that didn't... What? Why didn't that work? So, bigger. And then... I can do this again. Check this shit out. Again. Ah, it's going... Again. How much is it going up by? Extra himbo. So if it goes greater than 2, it goes back to 0. If it goes... if it's equal to or greater than, it does an ordered execution where it increases it by 10. I can, like, look at me, like, getting bigger. You're gonna pop. No, watch this shit. Bigger. And then there we go. So, I wanna do, like, a full-on... like thingy-madiggy of like, cause I want that for like macro March or something like that, where it's like, crazier and crazier sort of size. Cookie for Bookie! Here's your cookie, Bookie! You're gonna get a bit of a sugar high with all these cookies, Bookie. I hope you realize this. Excuse me. Oops. Thank you for the boops there, YY. You got butt locked. Seems like Zeebs ain't ready. As it is what it is. But yeah, so yeah, the 4:30's happening, and like, I don't know, I feel like this is the second time, like, we've seen from this, like, team lead, like, asking us this, why do you do this method or something like that, and they send this message at basically the end of my shift, and like, I'm not a level 1 person where I can just be like, oh, 100%, if it's not my problem, I don't fess up to it. I'm level 2 at this point, where it's like, I wasn't the one that caused the problem, but I'm probably one of the people that's probably gonna have to, like, I don't know why. I feel like I gotta stand up for, peeps like the level 1s and such when it happens, of just sort of being like, well, just sort of shielding them of like, well, hold on, it probably was, done this method or whatsamahoozy, and, don't be, too, like, whatsamahoozy critical or what have you. But yeah, second time in a row this happened, and... I get home. It's like 5 o'clock, and it's like, I just wanna eat my feelings. I wanna eat my feelings. I want a hamburger. And so I got myself some hamburgers. And, that's probably not a great thing. As I told you guys, that I was going to, like, do the whole, like, not ordering, like, meal delivery for, like, 2 weeks and shit. And I didn't do that. I know we made a promise. I know we did, and I broke it. I decided to go until I got
Glug, glub, glug, glub, glug.
cookie for YY. I need to get something to drink. Hang on a second. Where do I get the hamburgers from? McDonald's. I didn't make these hamburgers. Cookie for Bookie once again. You need it. I might need to hold off on cookies for you. I might need to make a limit to how often you can get cookies. Blah 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 blah. Where am I? Oh yeah. But yeah, I once again went for McDonald's hamburgers because yeah, I was just stressed. And it's not even like a proper stress. The day, the activities that I had to do was not stressful, and yet my mood was stressful, and I'm just sort of like, ah. You're lucky if you can eat McDonald's. Okay, is this you're lucky you can eat McDonald's because there's kids who can't have McDonald's or food and roof over their head, kind of where the stats are oh, if you get 100 people from the world, or if you shrink the world's populace down to 100 people and you have a roof over your head, you're better than 80% of the populace or something. Is that the thing of oh, you're lucky to have McDonald's, or is this more of a personal thing of oh, you're glad to have McDonald's because I don't have a McDonald's near me? This sign looks familiar. Pocket Circuit Stadium, huh? With the blue... Hey, it's Twitter! The property in this city seems to change ownership with the seasons, but the stadium is still standing. Wow. Boop. Hi there, little Incineroar. McDonald's left us 2 years ago and isn't going to return. Wait! I need to remember my conversations with YY. Hang on. YY's the... Wait, is YY in Ukraine? I'm trying to remember shit. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember my viewers and where they are in the world. Because I know a few of them are in Australia and I keep thinking they're not. Yes, you're correct. Okay. Wait. I thought it was Russia that didn't have McDonald's anymore, and Russia was just like, fuck it. We'll just make up our own. No, don't make me bold. Don't make me bold. But yeah, I thought it was Russia didn't have all that shit. And correct me if I'm wrong, Ukraine's not part of Russia, but that's not the point. The point is that Russia, couldn't have all these things, and then Russia, apparently just decided to go, fuck it. We're not gonna, listen to the copyright laws. So if you want to make a McDonald's, you just make your own McDonald's. If you want to have Pepsi, you make your own Pepsi. Was that something they did? I can't remember if that's something they did. Oh, yeah, back when Kiryu, just beat up on kids and racing. Racing against my rivals, customizing cars like crazy. Those were the days. I wonder what all those kids are up to now. Have they graduated and moved on to bigger and better things? Absolutely fucking not. I'd know that profile anywhere. People who love McDonald's order it from Kiev and then warm it up in a microwave. Alright, fair enough. Oh! You're older. They were not flattering when they aged you up. They were not flattering. Hang on a second. So, let me get an image real quick. Because this man does not look flattering. Okay, so if I go Yakuza 0 flashy guy, Pocket Circuit Racer. Oh my god, I went to the Wikia and there's dozens upon dozens of this man. Hang on a second. All right. Let me get the image. let me present to you what the pocket racer looked like. Look at this man here. All right, like look at him. Look at this man. This did not age well. Like Kiryu barely aged. This man, what happened to you, my boy? What did they do to you? What did they do to you? Like, they just, oh my god, like, look at this man. My goodness, they they toasted him. Look at him. Look at this, look at him. He's Buryat. Buryat. I didn't realize the age of this much between Zero and Kiwami. Fucking Kiryu did not age this much between Zero and Kiwami. Look at this is unfair. That is so unfair. Kiryu didn't get fucking you know, thingy-madiggy this much. Like, Kazuma Kiryu didn't get this treatment until, like, fucking Yakuza 8 or something like that. Like, oh my god, like, the Lost Decade really took a lot out of him. I imagine we're going to hear, like, this full-on story. Like, hang on a second, we're gonna keep that image there. I'm gonna move it, like, here, just really quickly, just so then that way we see him, like, look at this. Ugh. I forgot who you are. What? Hey, come on, that's way harsh, Kazuya-san. They called me the Pocket Circuit Fighter, the racer who does live commentary at the Pocket Circuit Stadium. I was kidding. Of course I remember you. Look at oh, they didn't even like try to be like, oh, let's do a little more detail on the age. Look at, oh my god. Oh, they did you dirty, Pocket Circuit Racer. Don't think too much. It might hurt my brain. My brain is already hurt. My brain is already just fucking bleh. Blah. Blah. It's been 17 years. Yep. And then he's just gonna be like, oh man, times have changed and it's still the same circuit. Oh my god, there's a loop-de-loop. Well, oh wait, there was actually always a loop-de-loop. From the looks of things here, you didn't know it's been 17 years. Yes, but oh, oh no! Oh! Oh no, that's even more unflattering. That's even more, oh my god. Chat. This is way, like, look at him. Look at that. Like, are you... The light... He's fucking eviscerated. Fucking radiation poison to the max. This dude is like, oh my god. He looks how I feel. He looks how I feel when I turn 25/30. And it's just a case of, oh, my best times were back in university. Oh, I did not treat myself correctly back in university. Look at this wrinkle. Look at what look where he came from. Look where he is. Oh. Oh, time flies, doesn't it? You suddenly stopped showing up, so I wondered what happened to you. Oh, I got busy, you know? I just couldn't find time to come by. But what about you? Have you been commentating on the races ever since I left? A lot has happened on my end, too. Has there? Has there really? What happened? I'm expecting a fucking tragedy from you, my man. Come on. You was scouted by the Pocket Circuit League for your live commentary skills to liven up the game all over Japan. That's great. Guess so. Your devotion paid off? You used to work as a part-timer making a measly 850 yen an hour. Oh my god, that's not even $8 now. But now you must be pretty high up the ladder. Oh, that's not amen. That's happy.
Oh.
Go on. Why'd he look away? The company finally recognized my efforts, and so they offered me a full-time. But then I failed the written exam. Oh. As a result, you're still a part-timer. Your hourly rate's up to 1020. It's only gone up 170 yen in 17 years. That's a little sad. Reunited after 17 years. Why not try for full time again? But once you fail, it takes years to earn the right to attempt it again. Really? You have no idea when I can take the exam. I should have studied harder back then. Damn, this is getting really awkward. Oof. Russians didn't make their own McDonald's, they just stole all the production line recipes and said it's our original, truly Russian product from now on. Ah. Excuse me.
Nanny.
What? You're engaged? While I was traveling across Japan, everything really does happen for a reason. You used to get teased about having no experience with the ladies, but I guess you've finally become a man. Your fiancé is a little old-fashioned. We're not doing anything until we're married. The problem is, when I went to ask her folks for their blessing to marry her, they turned me down. Their exact words were, "You expect us to give our daughter to a guy who doesn't even find a full-time job." You've achieved so much as the fighter, and the kids really love you. You're better father material than I am, really. That's not good enough. The status of being a full-time salaried employee is huge to them. Having it or not makes a big difference. Having it or not does make a huge difference in society. There's so many different things once you're a full-time employee. I never knew. Your fiancé's parents are old-fashioned too, huh? Exactly. They really care about these things. But if I let this opportunity pass by, I don't think I could ever marry. Besides, I think the world needs a new pocket circuit racer anyway. That's right. More and more young racers are getting into the pocket circuit. I think the company needs to bring in new blood to keep itself going. It really does care about the future of Pocket Racer. So when I find my replacement, I'm going to retire and take over the family's long-established tofu business. That'd get a sure approval from my fiancé's parents. I guess that makes sense. But as you know, Pocket Circuit is super important to me. One could say it's my entire life. I can't just give the position to any young punk off the streets. And they call English speakers, especially Americans, pindos. Am I a pindo? Is that... I'm an English speaker. I'm American. Does that mean I'm a pindo? Pindo... Is it pindos or is it pindos? Pindos. You're looking for someone who loves Pocket Circuit and could put as much passion into it as I do. Someone who loves it as much as you, Just not an easy qualification to have. Plus, I've still got my job as the current fighter, so I haven't really had time to go scouting for new candidates. I can see why you're concerned about your future. It's true, you're a major turning point in your life. Yep. And I think it's fate that we saw each other again. The next circuit fighter could be you.
Yeah.
Nope. Oh. This man is like, it could potentially be you. And then our character Kiryu is just like, no, don't care. Then can you at least help me find someone worthy of being the next generation? Yeah, sure. Come on, let's go. Alright. Finding a successor for the fighter. Alrighty then. Also, I need to get rid of... We don't need to hold on to this image anymore. Let me get rid of it. Let me get rid of it. Are you sure you want to remove the pocket circuit thingy? Yes, I do. Alrighty. Should I lend a hand? Sure, I'll help. It means we get to play Circuit Racer. Nani? Hey, I got the Golem Tiger. Alright, slick tires, power motor, and a balanced frame. They all call you like that. It's an offensive word. Yeah, I figured it was an offensive word. It aired because, you know, it's like pendejo. So yeah. Granted, people could call me a lot of things in real life that would be probably more offensive. Customizing a car to take on different courses is one of my favorite parts of the Pocket Circuit Racing. Why don't we race as a refresher? Alrighty, I think I know how this works. Alrighty, so, you know, you can use the thumbstick to fast forward, X is to switch cameras, Y is to boost. If you're about to fall off, then you use B to stabilize. So there's fighter. We're not gonna boost on the straights. Sorry, we're gonna boost on the straights, not the curve. Or we're gonna follow the tutorial and do it right there. There we go. Goal! They call Ukrainians kohols. Probably mean bleh. Ugh. Alright. Let's go for an actual race rather than a tutorial race. I reckon. Oh, never mind. Someone as passionate as me, I know I can find, so maybe I could start an arcade. People like must like video games too, right? Alright, we're not doing that. You guys. Hey, what do you want? You're in that blue gang, right? What's it to you? Where's Haruka? Eh? The little girl you took from Purgatory. What the fuck are you on about? We didn't go looking for no kids. We just showed up to beat on some hobos. Let's kick his ass. We could really go all out on that filth. Anyway, you'll have to do, old-timer. Alrighty. This will be easy enough. Or one of them is just gonna cheat and grab a fucking stun gun. Stop electrocuting me, you son of a bitch! Could you imagine this game being a multiplayer online game? Someone has made it an online multiplayer game, but I think it's like in the same sort of realm as the fucking, what's-a-mahoozy. Oop, hello. slap, knee, and fist. Yes, the grand first one, not pinned nose. Radio. And there we go. Excuse me. You really don't know where Haruka is? No, sir. We're the lowest rung of the ladder, even in our own gang. Maybe the white crew knows something. The white gang, huh? That's right. They should be really easy to spot. We're really sorry. Alrighty. Now we gotta... Hello? You good? No, I may have the look, but I'm not Yakuza. Shut up. I don't want to hear your lies. You came here to get in my way again, didn't you? Hold on, what? Not a chance. I'll kill you for trying to ruin me. Menacing man. Alrighty, menacing man. Fredera, get your ass kicked. Well, that was easy. Yakuza scum. If you're gonna kill me, just get it over with. Calm down. You're frantic. I don't know how to convince you, but I'm not Yakuza. No? You're a liar. You're just like the rest of them. What would I gain out of lying to you? Besides, I don't even know what this business deal was. Oh, sorry. What did they do to make you this afraid of them? Well, you see, I had a new opportunity lined up, but it was ruined by those good-for-nothing Yakuza. It was a very important business deal that was going to put my career on the map. Thanks to those thugs, though, the negotiations were cut short. Interesting. But the Yakuza don't usually interfere with a business deal unless it's really lucrative. What happened? Well, I guess they were interested in my company. Even asked for a partnership with me. Hell, if I didn't know any better, I would have fallen for that fake company name. I want my business to be legitimate. That means not getting in bed with Yakuza, so I rejected their offer. I had to. Now I'm seeing the picture. You're being targeted in retaliation because you wouldn't take a deal with them. Yep. Do you see why I despise the Yakuza, then? Well, I can at least understand the situation. Good enough. Look, I know I was rude to you before, and I don't deserve the answer, but could you tell me your name? Don't sweat it. My name's Kiryu. Kiryu-san. Got it. My name is Yoshioka. I'm really sorry for mistaking you for a Yakuza. I'll admit I was surprised when you rushed me. Oh. Well, look who we have here. If it isn't Yoshioka-san. How'd your little deal go the other day? How dare you? Yoshioka, care to introduce us? It's them. The Yakuza who sabotaged my business deal with a bunch of nasty lies about me. God damn, you're still stuck on that Yakuza BS? Get it through your head. We are not Yakuza. And sabotage? Please, give me a break. All I did was have a conversation with your friend that day. I mean, wouldn't you want to know if the person you were going into business with was a judgmental nut job? You gotta be wary of people who accuse civilians of being Yakuza. Oh, sorry. We were talking about your little deal, so it fell through, huh? Ah, that's too bad, Yoshioka. You intend for it to fail? You knew this would happen! Whoops. Was I that obvious? Damn. Cat's out of the bag. You... Allow me, Yoshioka. Huh? Hey, guys. Mind giving me a moment of your time? Man, you got a problem, big guy? Yep. Guys like you need to learn not to meddle in the affairs of other people without so much as a care about how it affects them. Oh, and you think you're the one to teach us, boss? You'd be surprised how convincing my fists can be. Do you have any idea who you're talking to? Here's a lesson for you. Underestimating me isn't very good for your health. We are not Yakuza, we are Triad. There's a difference. Yes, one is very much set in Japan, the other is set within either China or Southeast Asia, depending on which Triad. Now, excuse me while I beat up every single Triad member. Oop. Bam! Just hits him right between the shoulder blades. You're too damn strong! You're gonna regret crossing me! Alright. Also, hi there, Journey. Welcome to the stream. You missed out on me being, like, all downer and shit like that, and then we made fun of a man that that, like, aged poorly after 17 years. Hang on. And then, oh damn, run away. That guy was a lot of hot air, but I don't know if he was Yakuza after all. The president's business card. Kiryu-san, thank you so much. I don't know what I would have done without you here. Don't sweat it. I feel terrible, though. I judged you on your looks and then attacked you for it, yet you still lent me a hand. We're fine. Nothing I'll lose any sleep over. You should probably know that guy wasn't Yakuza. What? What do you mean? Here, see for yourself. Looks like he's just a guy with a real mouth on him, but a real business to go with. No way! How could I be wrong about him, too? It might not mean much coming from me, but you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. I understand, Kiryu-san. I'll try to do better. Take this as my apology or, well, a thank you gift. Wherever you want to accept it as, it doesn't matter. Just take it. I got a red jewel. Oh, no, that's okay. Please, I insist. I need to thank you somehow, if you must. From now on, no more judging books by their covers. You showed me that people's actions are what really matter. I guess if you really read between the lines, what happened here today was all my fault. That's already some good progress, then. Alright, Kiryu-san. Tomorrow is going to be a new chapter for my business and a new chapter for me. I have a long way to go, but we can only turn one page at a time, right? Wow, he really went all in on the book metaphors. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. Are you gonna... Yep, cool, we're going to the next scene. Yay, we got more experience points. But yeah, God, imagine trying to be, like, a graphic artist for, books. Like, every single book you have to design for, and everyone just has the adage of, oh, you can't judge a book by its cover. And you're just sort of you're just sitting there as the fucking graphic designer of just like, but that's my entire job! Kaihei Boulevard, coin locker key B4. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of... I wonder how many of these, like, keys I have. If there's, like, a way to... Components, hang on. Are they here? Nope, just the gears. Ooh. A key for a coin lock... Oh, it doesn't say how. Goddammit. Mizuki's photo, Rina's business card, a cell phone... A gambling wooden tags, and a president's business card. Alright, it doesn't tell me, like, which of the actual thingamadiggies I got, which is a shame. A considerable part of the book cover illustration is pretty disconnected from the actual contents of its book. Oh, damn, okay. I thought there would be, like, a little bit to it, but alright. Completion list. Let's have a look. Talk to 300 people. Dine at eateries. Complete Gindako. Complete Yoronoktaki. Complete Kyushu #1 star. Complete the Sushi Gin. Pronto, cafe, meh, beh, 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 beh. Entertain myself 10 times. Eat 15 foods. Use 30 medicines. Travel by taxi. Travel on foot. Travel by dashing. Earn millions of dollars. Earn experience. Open 10 coin lockers. Defeat 300 people on the street. Defeat 200 people in Brawler style. Defeat 100 people in Rush. Defeat 200 in Beast. Defeat 100 in Dragon. Helping people win Coliseum tournaments, defeat Novuyu Rish people, Use heat actions, use different heat actions, break items, acquire weapons and gear, defeat enemies with gear, learn 5 moves, complete sub-stories, defeat Majima, learn 10 Dragon of Dojima abilities, win against Slugger, Majima, Dancing, Mad Dog, get surprise attacked by Majima 10 times, Majima forced his way into a fight 10 times. Play 5 minigame battles against Majima. I don't know how to do those. Complete 5 Mesu King cards. Collect different tires, motors, gears, frames, races. Introductory, Little Cup, Rookie. Dun, dun, dun. Alright, cool. Cool. We got all sorts to do. Alright. Huh? Oh, Red Gang. Time to beat you up. Band 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. Ow. Fuck you. Also, the saying is don't judge a book by its cover is still applicable. Fair enough on that count, I suppose, if it's just... Bam! Oh, I thought that would kill him. Hang on. Here we go. Bam! Got him. Also, I need to scratch the top of my foot. Once again, the top of my foot is itchy and I don't really have a solution for it. Maybe I do need to put a fucking foot bath in my throne. Hang on a second. Ah, scratching the top of my foot. I reckon that... Do you think a foot bath would be a good gift? Eh. Look at Kiryu-san just smoking a cigarette. Alright, here we go. So, the next park we're going to is Public Park number 3. What? Oh my god, you were in the fucking... Can't wait. Oh, this is Dancer! I need to defeat the Dancer type a few times. Use one of these. Grab his head and do this twisty thing. I really want to get back into book. I really want to get back into writing somehow. I want to get back into writing, and it's really unfortunate that like one of the times that I'm really feeling like, you know, creative writing wise is when it's like it's 10 p.m. or something like that. I want to go to bed and I'm having these thoughts of like, oh, imagine if there was like a fantasy world where like, the ugly bastard orc was like became like a society or a kingdom or something like that. And then hang on. And it's like you have like this rogue element, like this werewolf guy, and who just has like a deep hatred, and there's like a magic system that is like more exclusively towards women rather than like to the orcs or anything like that, unless they're like of a much greater power, which is why the monarchy has like the orc monarchy has like the magical orc who's immortal. And it's like, the different women, they're treated entirely differently to the rest of the women because the orcs are a male-only race. Because, having magical women is like is of greater prestige and greater importance than just having whatever kind of women.
Good.
And then you have, like, you know, different faction actions, and, like, the orcs definitely want to, like, you know, keep their hold and such, and, you know, you got this time traveler that it's like, oh, we need to do these events in order to stop, like, the orc kingdom from, like, lasting until, like, infinite or, you know, taking over further. Alright, we defeated him. Granted, there are times, because it's going off at, like, 10 p.m. and such, and I've probably, like, looked at a lot of like, you know, smutty shit. Yeah, there is always the other, like, issue of, like, you know, when I am thinking up of these things, it's just X is coming into it and such. I don't know why. I'm not okay with ugly bastards, but I'm totally okay with orcs in manga and what have you. Oh, I gotta keep running. Ooh, can I? I'm gonna eat something here. What can you get me today? Get me bento. I'll grab 2 just in case. And just in case. Ooh, premium malt. And sochu.
Cool.
Hmm? Oh my god! What are you doing here? How did you get in here? But a fight with you would warm you up if you're cold. Put some clothes on for once. You don't need to fight me to warm up. Eh? But you said you wanted it warm. Give me some of that heat action already. What? That's not at all what I meant when I said yes to the question. Oh, so now you're a man who backed down from his word, huh? Doesn't sound like a man at all to me. This is ridiculous. Fine, I'll warm you up. But if you end up burnt, don't say I didn't warn you. I'm shaking in my boots, Kiryu-chan. Hope you're ready too. Let's go. Alrighty, I didn't even get to eat my fucking bento yet. Hang on a sec, let me eat my bento. Bam. Bento, mine. There we go. Ow. There we go. Hi, Dekus. I was talking about random, like, smut book ideas. Don't mind the earlier conversation. Yes! 200 people defeated with brawler style, and the 200th person was Gojo Majima. Nothing beats a nice warm Kiryu-chan in the winter. You got my temperature so hot, I feel like I'm going overheat. Really? Yep, I'm running real hot now. How am I supposed to cool down? I gotta release this heat somehow. If I wanna fight... Oh, what's he doing? He's going to have to keep my guard up at all times. I have to make sure I'm ready for him. I wasn't able to heat up my bento. He's D rank right now. Alright, now I need to go this way. Oh yeah, hi there, Dekus. You was thinking of story smut ideas yourself? Fair enoughsies. Hang on, what's happening with you? You alright? You look kind of wasted. I'm fine, alright? Oh, good. Yeah, say. You got any sake, buddy? What? Sake? Yeah. All I need is another swig. Just gotta wet my lips. And got some or not? I guess so.
Cool.
Wait, I don't have any sake on me. Oh, are you out too? On alcohol. Oh, alcohol. Won't you come back to me? If it would make him happy, maybe I'll buy some. Alright, time to figure out where I go to buy some sake. So, it's not at the convenience store. It might be at the M store instead, though. I doubt it. Oh, maybe it's at Don Kyoki. Actually, let's try the bigger convenience store first. How were they never a gay couple? Good lord, that remake writings between them must have sparked a ton of new age shit fanfics. I imagine so. Who knows how, but maybe because of Yakuza 0 it's now being like made a thing, or maybe they've made it so that Gojo Majima isn't just like combat sexual like Xenos, and he's instead interested in the girl that was like, you know, previously blind but no longer is. Gotcha. Maybe Majima is bisexual? Maybe. Who knows? Who knows the machination of a crazy crazy bisexual Japanese man? Who could possibly know about the machination of the crazy bisexual Japanese Yakuza man with the missing eye? One moment, please, as I look for some sake. I need sake. Are you... Oh. Oh my god. It's these guys again. Whoa, buddy. Bastard. Bastard. Watch where you go. Here, third time's a charm. Let's see what happens. Alright, they want me to pay, don't they? There's no use. My pupils are totally dilated. What are you gonna do about those diluted pupils? Poke over 1,000,000 yen right now. Not happening. Don't pay them. I'm not paying you 1,000,000 yen. Fuck that nonsense. Let me punch to undilute your eyes. Alright, I'm gonna swap over to rush mode, because I need to get more, like, you know, thingamadiggies completed with that. Go. There we are. So that's like, what, 7 people defeated? No troubles whatsoever. What's wrong? You were all so excited, and now you're dead silent. I can't believe this guy. His strength is unusual. He's so scary. We promise we'll stop doing this, so you can please find it in your heart to forgive us. A colorful parasol. We're leaving now. Seems like they finally learned their lesson. I hope that was the last time they'd pull off one of those moronic schemes. Alrighty, let's see. Alright, we got ourselves some more experience, which is great. Alright, let's see. Do we get... Hello? Do you have sake? Pocket... There we go. Sake. Wait. Can we get more? Alright, so we only got 1 bottle of sake. Alright. Let's get, like, 2 of those thingy-madiggies, just so then that way we have that available for us. Funniest scam gone wrong you've seen in an anime is where the kids try to bump and scam, asking for 50,000 yen. Then the kid goes 50k to injure you. Okay. Pulls out 50k, then breaks... I feel like that was a scam. That's what happened in Whatsamahoozies, in Better Call Saul, in like the pilot episode or something like that, where they had like, you know, Crazy Tuco or something like that, and he's just sort of like, oh, and then like, you know, rather than killing the kids, he breaks their legs. All right, move out of the way. Hello? What? Your face really... I want to punch it. Seriously? Oh, come on. Oh. Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. There we go. All right. Get up. Yes! Kicked him in the face. Woo! Did it. Did it. Okay, I lose. Come on, why did I have to fight you on top of everyone else? Because if you're already fighting, what's one more? It's the perfect time to jump in, when you think about it. Besides, you aren't allowed to have fun without inviting me. Next time you're gonna start a fight, you better call me first. I guess I shouldn't have expected a fight would be safe from Majima-san. Ah, so close. Well, he's finding more and more inventive ways of being able to fight me, so I'm gonna give him props for that. Alright, hey, you want some sake? Here you go, here's some sake. Sorry to be such an inconvenience, brother. We handed over the sake. Woohoo! Good for him. Good for him for getting free booze. Got some bite to ya. You want a swig? Sure. Take a nice big gulp. Nice. This is good. Give me that second. Good. I got a worn out coat. Might savor this flavored drink a bit. Alrighty. Where to next? Oop. I just heard a notification noise. That doesn't sound good. Oops, OBS has crashed, it says. That's not good. OBS might have crashed. Would you...
Heavenswood and the award-winning Stormlight expansion up to level 70. For free. With no restrictions on playtime. Because
No one has gotten this video. No
I've heard it a lot.
No one has gotten this video of fucking Ben Starr explaining to everyone about the critically acclaimed MMORPG. Hi, friendly pylon! It's been a while. Hi! Hello, how are you doing? You doing alright? God, it's been a while since I've seen that name in the chat. How have you been? What's this? Oi! What are you doing? Alright, they run off and do their thing. And now we gotta help out this guy. Please don't tell me this man is dead. These two must have mugged his wallet is gone. Oh, god damn it. There's another mystery on our hands. Ah. It has been. You're doing great, actually. You got some mental things sorted rather snugly now. Nice! I wish I had the same sort of mental fortitude as you have. Hang on, is my thumb okay? Yeah, my thumb seems okay. Alright, it's me. That back alley is a no-go. I'll be in touch. Huh? Wait a second. What was that call about? Oh, hello. Another coin locker key. I'm probably going to need to open up those lockers at one point or another. Alright, so that guy's going to be doing his thing. It's probably a friend call. I need to... There's a bar on the east side of the Millennium Tower, the one where the owner got murdered. You'll find a woman standing in front of that bar. Get a locker key from her. Who are you? Don't make me say it again. No questions. You have your orders. Now get to it. Get a locker key from a lady standing in front of the bar near the Millennium Tower. I also need to get done. Ignore you. We're not going into the games. Where do I find the white shirt? Oh, god damn you. Got him. But yeah, glad to hear that, like, you know, things are mentally sorted out for you and such like that. So, I don't think I'm mentally sorted out, personally speaking, just because, like, you know, it wasn't a stressful day at work, but for some reason, there's a rich man. We're gonna beat up on the rich man. Hey, you. We're gonna fight. You look rich. You're gonna give me lots of money. Recall when you played Psychonauts 2 before and you popped in for a bit? You mentioned it, but I had his headspace and there was a lot of baggage I was dealing with. Seeing the game helped, but I couldn't stay long as I didn't want to unpack that much back then. Fair enough. Granted, I have not finished Psychonauts 2, and I don't think I'd ever finish Psychonauts 2. It wasn't 100% in my wheelhouse, I will be real with you. No idea why, it just wasn't my thing. Just wasn't my jam. But yeah. I'm sorry to hear that, you know, back then, like, you've had all kinds of, like, things sitting in your head, stewing and all that, but I'm glad to hear that you're doing better now. And, you know, whether or not everything is solved or nothing is solved, the fact that you're doing better is a good thing, and you should be proud of yourself that you've been able to come this far. You've done well. So yeah. Oh, this is where you can go for some of the other stuff. Facial shirt, protective, thing, leather belt, comfy shoes. Gold champagne, premium vault, vitamin water. There isn't really anything here worth having. nice day. Anything here? No. Alright, where do I find the white shirt gang? Would you play Skull and Bones? I've played the open beta when it came out. I'm okay with it, but because my streams are not really... I do not have the fortitude or the skill in order to... Oh, I wonder who's under this thing. I don't have, like, the skill or the whatsamahoozy to be able to, like, you know, do these, like, sort of podcasty styles of podcasts while I'm in the middle of, playing a video game. And I don't have that kind of skill. If I'm in a game, I'm sort of trying to focus on the game and what have you. And what I found with Skull and Bones is that it's a bit of an interesting game and such like that. It definitely has that, like, you know, Assassin's Creed, Black Flag, naval combat. It's got a little bit of that customization that you see in Far Cry 6 as well. But the thing is that, like, you can't, like, you know, walk around the ship as your captain. The resource collection is, again, you know, with your ship in a mini game instead of, like, with as an individual. You don't explore or to, like, find treasure. Like, it's very much like Sid Meier's Pirates missing a few steps is what it is. Any whoosies. And what's more is there, like, in the open beta that I've played, there's not been, like, much of an indicator that there would be a lot of good story to it, because it certainly feels like a games as a service game where the story is where the story is all, like, second, like, it's a second thought kind of thing. It's not a it's not like first and foremost like Final Fantasy XIV or, well, quite frankly, a lot of massive online multiplayer RPGs. And I think that's what's kind of missing from a lot of games as a service, is, like, there's all this work going into the actual, like, you know, the game acting as a service, rather than it, you know, servicing a story, so to speak. So, and with all that, I don't think I could, like, I don't think I would play Skull and Bones on stream unless I was, like, you know, unless I was, like, looking to play with friends and such, and very few people are interested in playing Skull and Bones themselves, so I doubt, like, unless it goes, like, for free or something crazy like that, but I doubt that. It's a Ubisoft game, and they're trying to put the $70 price tag on the Ubisoft game, so I don't think we're gonna get it for, like, really cheap or for free. I feel like it's gonna be in the same level of scummy as Destiny 2 is with its monetization and shit, rather than it being, you know, Fortnite, for instance. It's weird to think no one has cracked the fucking, you know, games as a service monetization wise, as well as Fortnite for, you know, the majority of its platform, or Halo for its methodology for how it handles battle passes of previous seasons. Like, could you imagine for a minute, like, you buy a battle pass from Fortnite, it was, like, back for, like, you know, Chapter 1, Season 2 or something like that, and you're over in, like, you know, Chapter 4 or Season 6 or something, or whatever it is right now, but the thing is because you purchased the battle pass from that time previously, you can still finish that battle pass. Because that's what Halo has done. Halo has made it that, like, oh, if there's, like, you know, 6 seasons of Halo Master Chief Collection that you can go through, and even though all those things are, like, you know, 2 years old or something like that, you can still go back to those battle passes, complete them and shit, and then, you know, get the wares and what have you. Which I think is so brilliant, and I'm so annoyed that many games that do the battle pass experience do not follow in 343 Industries / Microsoft's methodology of it being a case of you purchase the battle pass for these exclusives at this time, you should have access to them at a later time to try and finish. My headspace actually has multiple people in it too that either reign over different parts of me, and honestly it feels pretty sick and good way to have this. Huh. Okay. Saw through my flawless disguise. You were in a traffic cone. I've seen you in a traffic cone before. Uh-huh. Yes! Alright, one more fight and I will be E rank. I'm gonna eat at Smile Burger real quickly. I need to get my energies back up. But yeah, like... It's weird to think that, like, the actual, like, monetization system has not changed in, like, the last 10 years, like, for the majority. Everyone is still under the same premise of, like, oh, we need to treat this like a fucking, like, fast fashion Supreme brand, where there's only a certain thing, like, you only have this battle pass for, like, you know, 90 days or something like that, and if you don't finish it in 90 days, you don't get to go back and finish it. It's like, no. Like, you invented this. You don't need to do that. You're not a like, and what's more is, the argument of it being a case of, oh, it's a franchising deal. You can't possibly, you know, keep the battle pass going when you have Captain America and the Avengers in this battle pass. And it's like, no, that makes no sense, because if you complete the battle pass, you get to play as Captain America and all the different Avengers. Like, your argument for, you know, why the battle pass needs to go away and you can't go back to it later is on the flawed premise that it needs to go away in the first place. It doesn't. There is no, like, marketable reason for it to go away besides, you know, the interpretation of, oh, it's more valuable if it goes away, because the fact is it doesn't go away. You don't outwear a Fortnite skin. It's not like if you wear the skin however many times, you can no longer wear it again in, like, squads, duos, or trios, or what have you. I hear you talking about battle passes. I am. And the password, I wasn't part of the... Kidding, it's not a bit if you use this, there's no... Alright. But yeah, like... Damn, maybe if I open the... Where are the... Hang on. What are they doing? Intervene. We gotta save this damsel. Plus, these are the white shirt guys. We need to figure out where these guys are staying. Cookie for YY. So yeah, sorry I was like ranting about battle passes for a while. Like I like the Halo like methodology of it being a case of like, other than like, because they still have like the whole temporary thing, like, oh, you can't really get into say like say a winter special, for instance. You can't get a battle pass for like a season like celebration special. You get, but you can go back to battle passes that are like, you know, agnostic to the actual calendar and shit. Nishida, what's wrong? We need you at Senryo Avenue. If you don't come, the boss will be in big trouble. What the fuck is happening to him? Alright, where the fuck is Senryo? Okay, so that's where he is. Alright, so... Yum. And the... Alright, so we need to go one more over. And then we hang a right. And then at one point we'll get the end. We have to hang a left to get into an avenue. But yeah, like... it's weird, like, it's weird to think that the monetization platform has not changed in 10 years. You know what has changed in 10 years, however? Like, the algorithms we've come up with in order to try and encourage people getting onto the Battle Pass in the first place. That's it. We've changed how to get people on it, but we've not changed the actual systems.
Still playing Yakuza Kawaii?
Yes, I'm still playing Yakuza Kiwami, not Kawaii. Also, what time? It's only 7:30. What do you mean still playing it? I've still got so much to go. What does this guy need? Ah. What did they look like? Two gold guys wearing red tracksuit. Theater Square. Alright. Well, it's nearly 8:30. Oh, yeah, time zones. We have different time zones. What the fuck happened to What happened to fucking Majima? He's a fucking zombie. The fuck? Alright, time to fight a zombie. Ugh. Nose. Yakuza Kawaii, the chibi cute edition of Yakuza. Someone's probably done that. What happened to Majima? The boss has turned. He's a zombie now. He's more powerful than ever. If he bites you, he'll turn you too. It's too late for me. What the hell? What happened? If you want to survive, run. The Majima family is infected. We're all over Kamurocho. Are people getting hurt? Oh my fucking god. Okay, do I just have to fight the fucking zombies?
Good.
Stop it. Pull yourself together. Alrighty. Zombie Majima. Time to beat up Zombie Majima. You know there's a Yakuza, like, zombie game? I think there is. I think you're right. I just need to beat this zombie's ass, and then we're good. Hi there, bestest boy! Did you change your name? It looked like you changed your
Friendly
name.
Pylon paid me to say, have you played or seen others play Okami? If so, do you recall Princess Fuse? The lady with the dogs with like 8 different arms.
Why is there zombies here and... Easy zombies. There we go. I don't know why this game has zombies. There we go. Because it can. Sure, I don't think because it can is a very valid reason for a video game, but sure. Come on, beat his ass. backhand the zombie. This is a reference to Yakuza Dead Souls. It's a non-canon Yakuza game where Kamurocho is quarantined for the zombie virus. Nice. Like, I think I remember hearing about that game. Backhand him again. Knee him, and fist. I wish there was more kind of Kiwami sort of moves. Yep, there we go. Another zombie defeat. It's a shooter Yakuza game? Okay. Still not gonna convince me to play it, I'm sorry to say. I'm gonna switch to Dragon mode, just so in that way. Alright, Dragon mode was a huge regret. Face again. Will this be enough to... Oh, I thought his head spun there for a second. Alright, hopefully this will defeat him. Yes, this will defeat him. Hopefully that's it. Hopefully that's the rest. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Done. We defeated the zombie. Well, zombies, plural, but I imagine he's the only one we need to worry about. Moshi Moshi. You took down all the zombies. I'm just glad I avoided being turned into a zombie. I thought you got bitten and became a zombie. Well, about that. Yeah, none of them are zombies. How many times have we got to bury? Wait, what do you mean just as planned? Can zombies even... What the hell is this dance you're even doing? You're alive and well. This is the time I got the whole Majima family in on the act. We're having a brainstorming session about how to get you to take a fight seriously, and we had this zombie flick on the background. Then it hit me. We hired a shit ton of extras and some makeup artists from the movie biz, then we had ourselves a little epidemic. A very elaborate plan. But we defeated Zombie Majima, and we are now rank C. We've now learned the dragon's heat gauge. And we still have no... We still don't know where we need to go next for dealing with, like, the white shirt peeps. Oh, maybe here. What are you doing here? You're in over your head. Beat it. I'm not here to argue with kids. Who's your leader? I said beat it, didn't I? Yeah, which means you're looking to get hurt. How ballsy. You're welcome to try, old man. Yeah, we're gonna try. Oh, we're just gonna drag him in here with the... Yeah. Oh my god, you can't just come in here and yell random shit? Sure I can. You and I need a fight. Alrighty, time to fight. White Edge leader, Yuji Shirakai. Okay, so I will need to beat up you guys before we can continue on. There we go. Alright, and then we pick up the bat. Let me just have some of this shit. Alright, Yuji, down. Where did the guy in the suit come from? What guy in the suit? There we go. Well, we broke the pipe. You got an extra motivation for your sugarless diet? You just had your grandmother on the phone and you forgot about your grandfather, so this is a good motivator. Fair enough. The one in the red jerseys. Go ask them. Plaza by the theater. Debola.
桐生だ。
伊達だ。警察におかしな動きがある。本庁の捜査一課に遥の捜査依頼があったらしい。
一課にどういうことだ。
詳しいことはわからん。ただ遥は誘拐の被害者ってことになってる。東上会とは別の組織が動き出したんだろう。桐生、奴らより先に遥を抑えるんだ。
That's what I've been trying to do. Hey, mister, do you have cheeseburgers? You have not had...
Stir paid me to say I deserve cookies.
You do not deserve cookies for hitting me.
Anymore. I am the smart. I am the smart. I am the smart. I am the smart. S-M-R-T. I mean S-M-A-R-T.
Thank you for the 100 bits, though. You are not cookie for Bookie. Here's your cookie, Bookie. Why was he gaining health at that point? There we go. So we got him down. A little bit. Gotta try and stop him from, like, gain... Cause somehow he's, like, reviving health then. Which makes no sense. There we go. Yes! Defeated once more. Man, you're pretty damn tough. Just what I'd expect. Alright, cool. We defeated him. We've defeated the slugger type like 3 times now. Can't avoid fighting Majima. I've learned Heat of the Dragon. Heat actions in the Dragon of Dojima style have been unlocked. Nice. And we've won against the slugger type like 3 times. I have a message. It says it's Riddle Fear. Seriously, don't know. Let's roll together. I don't know what that means. Alright. What does these things do? Increase the maximum amount of your heat gauge. If you run during, you won't recoil when attacked. Evading an enemy's attack, then break their legs. Those who start in a fight have to pay the price, only available in. Increase the climax when you've had enough to escape both the enemy, bash their face and throw them, only usable during climax. Holding the left and right, and then when taking damage. Durability, shrug off being shot or something or other, increase the maximum amount. Tear through enemies. Boost counter damage in heat mode. Reckless assault unleashed after performing a backhanded finishing blow. Only available in climax heat mode. Can also be used during climax heat mode. Exhaust all heat to prevent being knocked down for some time, then persist. This persists in all styles. Increasing embodies the real worth of a prize. Power is boosted when you are wounded. Your quick step evades. Certain styles. Technique, meanwhile. Powerful spinning blow. Evade, then grab. Evade, then grab, and lift up an enemy, twirling them around. Okay. Changing immediately after throwing shit. Charge in an enemy. Charge attacking is increased to certain weapons, increasing the damage they inflict. Bear Hug. A Bear Hug attack unleashed from a resist guard, usable in heat mode. Charge up and grab an enemy, then squeeze the life out of them. Perform up to 5 consecutive quick steps in rush mode. Change your battle style immediately after evading. Parry an enemy's attack and then move behind them. Build up of knuckle weapons don't go down as long as you stay calm. Rally from a damage by weaving, increasing the number of attacks in the rush combo. Mighty kick, pressure, release. Your weapon won't drop when wielding as long as you're in calm mode. A body blow unleashed from the guard position. I don't want those. Let's go for more body stuff. Here we go. Alright. Boost the health. Yep. Boost the health. I honestly like when this happens. Like when they're like, oh, do you want to boost the health? And it's like, yeah, the bar just gets longer. I don't know why. That one's just fun to do. Health recovers when you drink alcohol. In your resist guard to forcibly disarm an enemy carrying a weapon. This alone has no effect on bladed weapons. Weapon masters are immune. Yep, cool. Fair enough. Nice. Alrighty. So, I need to fight them 20 times. While running. This requires fighting them 30 times. Alright, so what's this one? Triangle while wielding a dagger. Third combo. 1 to 4 times and holding down the Y. Regain your impressive attack. Regain your instincts on the 4th. I now know of Mojima's thing. You can unleash heat actions when using the Dragon of Dojima style. Excellent. Check the emails. reach rank D, defeat Breaker Majima in town, regain your lightning fast attack speed when you're on your last legs, check your email, reach rank C, defeat Officer Majima. Mercilessly choke out an enemy from behind, cannot be used on powerful foes. Rank B, defeating the zombie. Check the email. This requires all the different writing stuff. Slashing attacks pass down the Komaki style, although it's an ancient bare-knuckled style, it seems to be based on traditional swordsmanship. Near with a handgun or a shotgun, which is usable in both Brawler and Dragon. Rush and Dragon. Rush and Brawler requires the Asura, the cat, the snake. Alright, so that requires all the different thingies. And then... Alright, so that requires S, double S, triple S. Yeah, okay. Using it increases the chances for red to appear at the roulette tables. Nice. Oh my god, I need to use a lot of those. Alright. I need to get out. Hey! Leave him alone. Did it. Huh? Where do you... Where is he? Oh, there he is. Alright. There we go. Campfire Cooking in Another World with Mike is now dubbed. Oh, nice! That's the one with all the peeps. So been wanting to watch it for a while. Nice! I know that's the one where, like, you're in a dungeon or something like that, and because they don't have the money for food, they then just start making food out of all the monsters they defeat and shit, so... Yeah. It's one of those, like, animes that's like, oh, here's something food, like, heavy, which I wonder if it's gonna be similar to Torioko, I think was what I played, what I watched, or no, read, sorry. Think of a riddle. So his riddle is, let's roll together. Next one is Shikafuku Street, nearby bars. My goodness. Of all the different techniques. Alright. I need to head to Deborah. Also, I need to find something to eat. Need to eat some food. Big Wuffy. Who's a big Wuffy? Okay, so I can't get two things at once, it seems. There we go. Triple pork. Your favorite food anime is Restaurant to Another World. Oh my god, where the fuck is he? There he is. Alright, looks like I'm gonna have to fight him with weapons. Why are you healing? Had good furry cuties. It's about a guy who ends up in another world and has to skills to buy food from a mixed friends with a large finger who loves to eat. Ah, okay. Oh, that almost defeated him. That would have been good. Get kicked in the nuts. But yeah, it's been a long time since I've, like, watched anime, for sure. The thing I've been normally going through is manga right now. Like, I'm going through the second part of Chainsaw Man, and it is... it's got to a really depressing fucking point as well. Like, it got... And the problem is that it's a 2-week release schedule, so, like... I'm basically having to sit with, like, the fucking revelations and shit they give us for, like, 14 long days. And I'm just sort of like, God damn it. Why do you make Denji give the sage? Hang on a sec, I gotta eat again. I got out of a fight with Majima, only to eat, get into another fight, and now I have to eat. The cycle never ends. Ooh, okay, and then dink. So we order 2 things. There we go. This is how you game the system, to be able to have more food with less stomach. Alrighty, hopefully I'm going the right way. Yep, I'm going the right way. So yeah, I just need to... Yep. Alright, cool. No. Gotta keep an eye out for any locker keys. Gotta head into here. Are there any gangs? Hopefully not. Up we go. I don't think there's gonna be too many gang members. Alright. Where's Haruka? Who the hell are you? Even if I knew what you were talking about, I wouldn't tell you shit. You better watch your mouth. Easy. Kudo, you are fucking weak. Are you the Bloody Eyes leader? Not me, they're downstairs. God fucking damn it, why they gotta be downstairs? Hey, there he is. That's probably the leader. He's the biggest one there, height-wise. Oh, you're thinking... Oh, damn it. The thing wasn't there anymore. And downstairs we go. We enter into the dance side. Hey, look, a thingy-majiggy on the dance floor. Locker key A5. Nice. There you are. We need to have a fight. Give me Haruka.
兄貴、面白いぜこいつ。やれるもんならやってもらおうじゃねえかよ。
There we go. God damn it. God damn, I'm going through a lot of health items with this. I thought when I was plastered I wouldn't get paralyzed or anything like that. Stop having dance partners. Didn't these guys already... Didn't you fight these guys a while ago? I don't think these particular guys, but... hang on. Oh my god, the younger brother is just so fucking tanky. This is annoying as fuck. There we go, that gets rid of quite a bit of... Get fucked. Well, at least I got a lot of experience for that.
こんなことして死んだも同じだぞ。はるかはどこにあった？
Where?
知らねえ。
They're gonna tell me to go for the blues, aren't they, next?
待ってどこだはるかはどこだ俺らは金で雇われただけなんです
Who paid you?
雇い主は誰に雇われた
Oh, the triad is involved.
世界のランさんのところに
Lao.
ラウカロン
Alright, we now know where we're going next. 12 years ago. Wait, what?
ラウさん
I do not remember this from Yakuza 0.
薬を入れました。桐生さん、堂島組の皆さんは我々と対等のつもりなのですか？
何
偽造パスポートに2000万？我々に敬意を払っていないからそんなことが言えるのです。だから我々は敬意を勝ち取るように
Well, he has the entire dragon tattoo
桐
at
生
this
さん
point,
に
so
ご協力いただいてね。
then I guess it wasn't in Yakuza
あな
0.
たの死に方がむごいほど何よりのメッセージになるのです。では。
Could you not put... Oh! Oh! No, that's pain. No. Terrible. Absolute terrible. Oh, no, get away from his eye, get away from his eye. No, 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 no. Oh, thank Christ. What? Dude was just like, bam, 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 bam. Are you fucking kidding me?
おやさん遅くなったなカズマ
The leader of the Kazuma is fucking baller.
足が何お前のためなら足の一本や二本すんません長いは無用だすぐに安全な場所に連れてってやるからな
Evil acupuncture. I think that was wrong acupuncture.
やつが
Well, it looks like we have some vendetta on our hands. Sorry, I just want to pick my fingers. God damn it, there's so many things. There are so many bad habits that I want to do. Oh god, where is he? You heard him, didn't you? Oh, hello. Moshi Moshi.
いや
そうか今サイのからの
分かった
Where the fuck is he? Actually, hang on. I can take a taxi instead, which is that away. Is there anything here? No, there isn't. Okay. Next location, please. The people who took Haruka were the Snake Flower Triad. That's what the gang said. Haruka, she's in Yokohama now. In that case, we better make sure we're ready. It's the Snake Flower Triad, after all. There's no way to know who or what will be waiting for us. Kiryu, come talk to me once you're ready. We'll head for Yokohama in my car. Give me a few to get some items. Blah. Blah, 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 blah. Alrighty. I'm ready. Hopefully this isn't going to be like a terrible sequence. Yes! Let's head to Yokohama. That's what I just said. We're going to Yokohama. Oh, hello.
今中華街の本部に監禁してます。これで例のお約束守っていただけるんですよね。
おう、お宅のジャカには30で文句ないやろ。
30？じゃあ島野さんは70ってことですか？
いや、うちは50や。
なら残りの20億は？
おう、来たか。なら紹介するわ。これが5代目近江連合の寺田いう男や。以後お見知りおきを。
Who?
錦山のアホからガキの情報を持ってきたんがこの寺田や。残りの20はこいつのところや。
そうでしたか。それはそれは。
錦山のガキや。まだまだ極道の怖さ知らんで。年が20も下のガキに出し抜かれるかっちゅうんじゃ。
Chapter 9, The Rescue. I don't know how many chapters there are in this particular game. Hopefully it's not like 20.
ジャカまで絡んでくるとはな。大丈夫だ、キリュウ。ペンダントはともかく、連中がハルカをどうこうする理由はねえはずだ。
伊達さん、ハルカは見たこともねえ母親探しにたった一人であの町に乗り込んできた。9歳の女の子がだ。ただ母親に会いたい、その一心でな。
あ
あ。ハルカが俺から離れようとしたって聞いたとき、俺は10年前のことを思い出した。何より大事なものを守りたい一心で自分のしたことを信じてた時の気持ちを、今思えば俺は逃げたのかもしれないとも思う。その人間が背負うべき運命を見てられなくて、それを見届ける勇気がなくて、俺は奴の人生を無理やり曲げちまったんだと。だが心のどこかではこうも思うんだ。運命に逆らった自分は正しかったはずだ。大事なもん守るために必死になった人間はどんな壁だって乗り越えられるはずなんだってな。水木が死んで、はるかはあの小さい体で必死に歯食いしばってる。あいつが運命と戦うなら、俺はあいつのために命張ってやろうと思うんだ。
Alright, so we got like 5 more chapters to go, including this one.
こいつがあのジャカのアジト。
そうだ。
Oh, we're at the HQ already. Damn, that was fast.
伊達さんは例のハルカの捜査を探ってみてくれないか。
お前一人で行くつもりか？
I'll be fine on my own.
今の伊達さんじゃ足手まといになる。
はっきり言いやがる。分かった。
I personally think Nishiki would have been killed in prison, or he had gotten his transformation in there by being desperate to mess up his inmates. I reckon the thing about Nishiki is the fact that so long, because of the whole, like, you know, dragon and koi fish symbolism between the two of them, I think so long as Nishiki and Kiryu were in the same sort of, like, realm and what have you, Nishiki was never going to improve. I think Nishiki would always be seen as second or underling to Kiryu, and it was only until Kiryu was no longer in the picture and out of people's minds and what have you, that Nishiki had the opportunity to, like, you know, granted, it went down a relatively evil path, but there is growth and change to Nishiki in terms of power and strength, which wouldn't have been there if he was standing beside Kiryu. Because Kiryu is always going to be there as like a, oh, you can't become him. He's a dragon, you're just a koi fish. Whereas without Kiryu in the way, then the whole symbolism of him as a koi fish swimming up the mountain waterfall to become a dragon would take place, where people would see that he's becoming the dragon. Whereas, yeah. So I feel like if he could somehow be out of Kiryu's shadow, whether through prison or Kiryu being out of the picture, then there's opportunity for Nishiki to, you know, grow in strength and power. Oh, Jesus. That was excessive. Crazy. I think this is the part where it starts becoming more like hard-boiled. Fun fact, people say Kiryu is not responsible for anyone's death. Everyone in the fandom says this for some reason. The Snake Flower Triad. Oh, you have made a mistake by being around furniture. Like Jackie Chan, you do not want me hanging around furniture. Alright, I'm gonna need to... Hang on, I need to take on that guy. Oh yeah, guys, come down here. Come down here to where there's more furniture. You're gonna love it. When are these guys gonna learn? Do not... Kiryu is like Jackie Chan when you put him around furniture. He's gonna use these things, and you wouldn't think he would be powerful with them, but turns out he is powerful with them. Expensive urn. Bonk. Get back up, get back up, and start swinging my sword. Do you like my sword, my diamond sword? Yeah. Oh, he treats it like a dagger. That's silly. Yes! Lao? Where the fuck are you? Dun 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 dun. There we go. Dun. Hello, he's just running. That's so great. Alright. Oh, god damn it, who the fuck used a gun? You cheated, you motherfucker! Pig! Fuck you for using a gun. More chefs. That's another guy down. Excuse me while I grab this pig. Bam! I guess they're all dead. Yep, they're all dead. Okay, time to keep moving. You have a Mandela effect? Grant, has your channel ever been made as Grant Johnson? My channel has never been named Grant Johnson, but my persona has been named Grant Johnson. Like, that is one of the more, like, official, like, full names of my persona. So, but GrantZeebs is just, you know, the fucking name for the persona, username-wise, internet-wise. Because, let's be real, Grant Johnson is a very formal way of saying my character's name and such, and is from, like, RP times. But GrantZeebs works for me. So it's less of a Mandela effect and more of a, oh, this actually existed, but, you know, it doesn't get used as much. Shimano is too cheap. You don't need anything from her anymore. What we wanted was this girl. Why? It's your Discord name? Oh, probably. Stretching! I am a man who rose through the snow flower triad by force! Oh, look at this man being extra fancy. I should have grabbed the gun. The Snake Flower Triad leader, Lao Kalong. Yes! God damn it. Oh. Oh god, now we gotta deal with 2 swords. Sorry, I just want to use the table. Nice. There we go. Ow, are you kidding me? I was tapping A quickly. You remember watching a reaction where 2 stunt fighters from action films looked at Yakuza games? For the most part, they said Kiryu's fighting style is grounded in a lot of reality. Oh, I'm not even looking at it properly when I was reading your thing, but I wasn't like paying attention to what Kiryu was fucking doing in the fighting. Like an idiot. But yeah, compared to most other fighting games, yes, Kiryu has like held like, or more like compared to most like beat 'em up games, Kiryu does hold himself in a much different, more realistic stance. Oh my god, this fucking guy. Go. Alright, hopefully this will get rid of a lot of his health. He did get to like get a lot of his health back, unfortunately, from the whole like Especially when he gets to do shit like that. Get up, get up, get up, get up! There we go. Yes. You're good. I'm sorry Kiryu decided to slap you. It wasn't fair for him to do that.
Kiryu Kazuma.
The fuck? You beat one of the more annoying main story bosses? Yay!
お前だって見たろ。あの子はあいつに誘拐されたんじゃねえ。何度言われても同じですよ。伊達さん。何があろうと桐生の釈放はありません。伊達さん。だから言ったじゃないですか。手を引けって。では。
Well, either he's getting his information from the wrong sources or he's corrupt.
Haruka.
Hi.
おじさん。
お前。
ごめんね、おじさん。こんなことになっちゃって。私、本当はおじさんと一緒にいたかった。だけど、これ以上おじさんに迷惑かけちゃいけないと思って。
バカだな、お前は。俺が迷惑してるって思っていたのか。伊達さん。
ああ、遅くなって悪かったな。
あんた、こんなことしたら。
やばいだろうな。だがもう遅い。逃げるぞ、桐生。
Why is the cage door so small?
やっちまったか。
すまない、伊達さん。
ま、どちらにしてもクビだったんだ。遅かれ早かれな。それよりこの事件、思っていたよりも根が深そうだぜ。
何か分かったのか。
ああ。これ覚えてるか。はるかをスターダストに連れ込んだ連中のバッジだ。
Oh, it's the pin.
こいつは政府の地下組織のものじゃないかってことでな。
Underground government organization.
内閣府の地下組織。
MIA? Are you serious? That's missing in action.
ミニストリー・インテリジェンス・エージェンシー。内閣が直接指揮を取る部隊だ。政治の裏工作から要人の護衛。責任者は警察庁出身の代議士神宮って男だ。こいつが100億やはるかとどう絡んでくるかわからんがな。
政治家か。
Could the politician just be interested in getting the 10 billion?
100億以外の価値があると。
100億以外の？
ああ。
どういうことかわからんが、もう一つとっておきの情報がある。東京湾の死体だが、あれ水木じゃない。
Oh.
鑑識で身元が判明したんだ。全くの別人だったよ。
Well, that's good.
はっきりした証拠もある。博多だ。
じゃあ、お母さんはまだ。
そうだ。まだどっかで生きてるってことだ。
Oh, look at Kiryu being hopeful.
なあ、はるか。俺はユミを、お前は水木を探している。だが、どんな危険があっても、俺がお前を守る。必ず母さんに会わせてやるからな。
No! Not the bolt!
Huh? あれはまずい。
Uh-oh.
どうした？
ショー出てくるときにつけられてたみたいだ。
何？
もし
Oh, are we gonna have another shootout?
くそ、仕方ない。桐生、お前そいつで奴らの足止めをしてくれ。
Hell yeah. Shame it's a 6-shooter, but we'll make our best. Oh, yeah, okay. Thank you for giving me 15 shots in a 6-shooter. No one, absolutely no American is gonna complain about that mechanic there of a 16-shooter or a 6-shooter holding 15 bullets. Absolutely no one. Couldn't be Americans. Watch this shit. Oh, Jesus! Never killed anyone in this series. They just got big ouchies and boo-boos. It's all rubber bullets. Don't question it. It's just rubber bullets to give them big boo-boos. Well, I can see why now they gave me 15 bullets instead of 6, because that would be absolutely annoying to deal with. Oh, and here comes a health check. God damn it. Apparently, police were only allowed... Okay, makes sense, but... I don't know, you could have been like, oh, Kiryu, don't let the cops find you with this, and give them a fucking 16 shooter or something like that, rather than just only giving us the 6. The fuck are you doing, Nishiki? Okay. Was Yuko... Yuko was his sibling, I want to say? No. Well, he's not going to do this. Like, someone is going to stop him. We've seen... He's in the future. So...
なんだ、いるんじゃねえか。おう、組長さんよ。またしのぎ広げることになったからよ。金使わせてもらうぜ。おい、こら、聞いてんのか?
Did he actually just stab
こっちが
himself?
せっかく動いてやるって言ってんだぞ。てめえ、いい加減にしとけよ。返事もできねえのか、は？あのな、おめえはどこまで下手なんだよ。たく、まだ連れのキリヌが根性あったぜ。ま、奴がやっちまった。
Cookie for Bookie! Important moment going up.
キリは誰がヘタレだって？誰が桐生よりも根性がないんだって？メイドの土産に教えてやる。堂島組長をやったのはこの俺だ。
Oh my god, that was so much fucking blood. Are you kidding me? Alright, now the next question. What are you gonna do? Because even though he's technically your underling, I don't think you get to just kill your subordinates. So you're going to need to, you know, fix this. Oh, and with one fucking trick is now evil. What's the difference between killing one man or two? Oh geez, I wonder.
とっくに道は決まっていたんだ。堂島を殺し、桐生を見捨てたあの時から。やってやるよ。
You do realize you're talking to a corpse, right, Nishiki?
必ずてっぺんに立ってやる。
He's talking to a corpse.
そのためなら何人だろうがぶっ殺してやる。
Well, that's good and all, but you still got a dead body in your office. And sure, he's Yakuza and shit, but some people might want to know what happened to him. I don't think they're gonna chalk it up to, oh yeah, fucking robbery gone bad, don't look any further or anything like that. I think they're gonna investigate you. And okay. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
そうだ、キリュウ。お前の携帯。
Thank you for giving me back my cell phone.
シンジから伝言が入ってる。
Shinji left you a message.
シンジです。さっき錦山組の門から聞いたんですけど、兄貴の情報、錦のおじきに筒抜けみたいで、そばに怪しい奴がいるはずです。 お気をつけて。
伊達さん、花屋のところに行ってくれないか。
I gotta go talk to a man about some flowers. Probably had his men clean up the body and made an example of him. Yeah, but I feel like even then, a lot of people are gonna be like, dude, you just killed like an underling within your family. Like, we gotta talk about. Like, I don't think you can just get away with murdering your subordinates. Otherwise, Kiryu would have been killed so much sooner.
もっと早く気がつくべきだった。歌堀のところに行った時、錦は俺宛てに電話をかけてきた。
When you went to Utobori,
俺の動きが
you
見え
figured
た。
out my every move.
それに水死体が
That
水木
it
じゃ
was
ないな。
Mizuki,
ペ
then
ンダント
how
の
did
秘
he
密
know
は
about
誰
the
か。
pendant
ユミは
secret?
失踪中。
Yumi is missing, and
あなたと
Haruka
錦は
has
接触したことが。
never even met Nishikiyama.
出るぞ桐生。セレナの映像だ。
4日前の映像を頼む。
お前まさか。
そこだ。再生してくれ。ちょっと出てくれ。
いってらっしゃい。
Oh, she leaked information. Wait, you have a camera inside the Serena? She's the owner. How didn't she know about this?
Oh, あのレイナが。
嫌だよ、こんなの。
桐生、お前がここに来る前、はるかを探してほしいって女が来た。この話覚えてるか？
ああ。
この女だ。
伊達さん。行こう。
I hated finding out she was the traitor. Look, I'm not too surprised. Like, I feel like it's one of those like, this twist is just sort of like a, oh. It's just an oh. Like we didn't really have that much for the, like, you know, oh, someone must be saying where Kiryu is going and shit. Like, cause I'm gonna be real with you. When we got to like the fucking Purgatory. When we got to Purgatory and they're like, ah, yes, thousands of cameras were put around and they never got used except for me, the cop that ordered them to get set up and shit. I was just sort of like, okay, cool. So really investigating people is just like on the streets is like a relatively easy project to go through and shit like that. Nishiki probably just has, you know, people watching Kiryu because, you know, he's a head family and such. There's very little in the way to, you know, explain to me, oh, how did Nishiki know where Kiryu is? So having this moment here of like, huh, how did someone find me and such? I was like, you didn't really make a point of, oh, how did you know I was here in the first place? It was just matter-of-factly that I was like, oh, hello, tattoo parlor. Yes, you're right. Fucking, Kiryu is here. Here he is. There was no moment of Kiryu being like, how did you find me or anything like that. It was just a case of Kiryu was just like, okay, I'm taking this number. And yeah, so, like, it doesn't surprise me too hard considering she's infatuated with Nishiki. Like, we got that from chapter 1, technically speaking. Back when Reina, Yumi, Nishiki, and Kiryu were all together, Nishiki was interested in Yumi, but I don't think Yumi was expecting anything from Nishiki. Yumi had her eyes set on Kiryu. Meanwhile, Haruka had her eyes set on Nishiki. Haruka is taking Nishiki's side in this thing, and would have originally have stayed impartial, but oh my god, there's fucking blood. How long was this a thing? Shit. Oh, fuck! What the hell? Hi, hang on a second. I'm a little too big. I need to fix this. Hang on. Wait, nope, wrong button. Hang on. Where's my buttons? Give me a minute. I can fix this. Hang on, where are my buttons? Where are me buttons? Oh, thank you for the follow. Follow there, Prey X Purge. What is everyone saying? Potato raid. Potato. What is this? Potato raid. You paid for this. My points. I'll refund you this, or I'll put it back on. Welcome everyone. My name is Grant. I'm a variety himbo streamer, as it says here, with my shirt saying himbo. I am currently going through the Yakuza series because I'm a broke ass son of a bitch, and Yakuza, like, is available on the Xbox Game Pass, and we're currently up to Yakuza Kiwami, which is basically a remake of Yakuza 1. Thank you so much for the raid, Prey Purge. Where is it? How Dead by Daylight? How was Dead by Daylight? Hope you had a wonderful time. What time is it for you? Holy shit, what time is it for you? Because it's like, it's getting to like 9 p.m. for me. You can call me Prey. Alrighty then, Prey. Easy. Lovely. I can do that. I can go with Prey. Prey works for me. Nice. How was Dead by Daylight? You enjoying it? So yeah. What brought you here? I'm like a small-time furry. I'm not even on a lot of people's radar. What the fuck are you doing here? Like I doubt my boobs are like, aha, I attract all the bar enjoyers. Because, like, I don't think I have that power. It was great. You finally finished, prestiging Nicolas Cage. Nice! Great work! Wait, is Nicolas Cage is he, like, the villain, like, in the 1v5? So, in the 1v4, is he the one, or is he a survivor? Because I remember seeing, like, a thing of, like, oh, Nicolas Cage is coming to Dead by Daylight, and I was like, hang on, is he a survivor or a villain? He's a survivor in the game. Ah, okay. It's because I met you in VR chat before. What? We have? What? I am very himbo as fuck. I don't know when I ever met you. Wait! Hold on. I think I do remember you. Wait. It's in my head. Somewhere. Nope, wait. Ferality? Brain.exe. My brain is functioning thank you very much. My brain is functioning. I'm just really do the glasses thing. No, I'm not doing the glasses. Yes, I got it correct. Ferality. I am a fucking genius. I am terrible with names and faces and pronouns, Prey, by the by. I'm absolutely terrible at it. I have a friend named Capricious. She's a wonderful artist and what have you, and she's actually helped me out in Fortnite and what have you. It took me a long while. Like, I kept asking her, like, probably 3 or 4 times every time she came on stream of, like, hi, Cap, good to see you. And then, like, 2 minutes later, hey, Cap, what's your pronouns? I just forgot so many times. And it's only, like, after, like, the 4th or 5th that I'm like, right. I now remember these pronouns. Also, there you go. There's your, this is my hyper himbo. This is, I can be big. Also, check this out. Look at this. Okay, I'm probably distracting you, like, really hard and keeping you here. If you need to, like, unwind, if you need to, like, de-stress, grab a Coke, grab a water, grab an aspirin, grab a blanket, milk, cookies, whatever your thingy-madiggy is for, you know, finishing your stream and what have you, then, you know, go ahead and do it. I'll try and take as great of a care as I can to your raiders, and thank you so much for raiding into my channel. Granted, we're probably only going to be at this for like another 5, 10, 15 minutes, but I'll try and make it worth it for all the viewers that raided in. Kiryu-chan, if you're reading this, then you must already know. Yes, Nishikiyama-kun was getting his information from me. Truly, I'm truly sorry. I was in love with Nishikiyama-kun. I just wanted him to love me back. So I did anything that would make him happy. I wanted to make his every wish come true. I knew I wasn't right, but I did it anyway to my shame. I was such a fool. But when I met you guys, I remembered what really mattered. Even though it was too late, I wanted to take some responsibility to make up for what I've done. Reina. Oh. Getting ready for work. I hope you have a great stream. Not to worry. Moshi Moshi? Shinji, what's wrong? It was Reina. Sir, she's the mole. Yes, I kind of figured that. We just found out, like, literal minutes ago. Nani? Where are you? Alright. Okay, I think I've... Alright, I'll be Hyper Himbo for another minute or two for Het, and then we're back into normal mode, okay? Sounds good. Ah! Where the fuck is he? Also, what the fuck is going on with this car? Hi, Majima. The Tojo Clan Shimano family captain, Goro Majima. Hang on, I just need to beat up this guy. And break his neck. Backhand, Neum, and... Damn it, he's not dead yet. He will be dead, though. Do the glass... Oh, I already read the glasses thingy-majiggy. Ah! Shit! Get up, get up. Yes! Did it. You're a pretty tough guy, Kiryu-chan. You really must not have a life. Have you been waiting for me this whole time? I was sure you'd find me eventually, Kiryu-chan. And lo and behold, you did. So now you're analyzing my behavior patterns. You know, being on the receiving end of the attack ain't so bad. Maybe I'll try this hiding thing again at some point. To think I'd find Majima in the trunk of a car. Now I have to be careful of what I touch. Ah, damn it. Stuck it. Alrighty. Hang on. Abilities. Body. Excuse me while I, like... Hang on. Where's my... Here it is. Draw out the... Upon the enemy's default within you with his that would normally knock you down. Boost your defense while performing a resist guard. Boost the attack. Alright, that costs 85. Boost maximum health to the extreme. Your health recovers more when you eat food. An explosive attack executed in a bear claw stance just as you're attacked. A Herculean attack
glug,
would...
glub, glug, glub, glug.
Okay, so that water bottle just ran out of water. What about this one? Okay, this one has some water in it. Hang on. I have multiple bottles of, like, water around me. There we go. Alrighty, do I want the explosive attack? Or do I want... A, let's boost the maximum health. Oh my god, we are so close. Ah, damn it. Alright, alright, we just need to defeat Majima a couple number of times. Okay, where do they want me going? They want me going... I do not know where. I was not paying attention to where they asked me to go. Shit. Also, I need to turn off the Hyper Himbo. Hang on. Send a signal. There we go. I went Hyper Himbo just a little bit longer for Het. Alrighty, so... Alright, intervene here. Just real quick. This will hopefully get me more levels. Oh, almost defeated him. Oh, there we go. There we go. Alright, we got toughness light. Let's see if that will... Alright, where the fuck? Shinji's in danger. I have to hurry and find them. Okay, but first question is... where the fuck is he? I have no clue where he could be. Saw a pool of blood like this in the Champion District. Someone must be hurt bad. There's no way you should be moving this fast to get away. Okay, so Champion District. Men's to be continued. Oh my goodness, the men to be continued. Less blood here, no doubt about it. He was heading into the Champions District. Yeah, okay, so that's over into there. Yep, we're hot on the trail. Ooh, hang on, you go into here for some quick potions. Alright, let's keep moving. Alright, Blood's still heading to the Champion District. Alright, yep, so he hung a left. And then... oh. Nishikima's family member. Lieutenant Tanaka isn't here anymore. I heard he fled to the hotel district. Even outnumbered and injured, we still couldn't beat him. Could be a real shame to see it go. No easy task, considering how much blood he was losing. Okay, so, Champion... where's Hotel? Because that's Pink Alley, Senkyo... Pink, Shikafuku, Park... okay, so that's Alley, Boulevard, Hotel. There we go. This is a random fucking goose chase. Yep. Alright. Moving on up. Ah! There's so much running! Oh, hello. Moshi Moshi. Abandoned building near Purgatory, behind the batting cages. We need to find him very quickly. Oh shit, there's an advertisement going off. I'm sorry about that. Hang on, sorry. Sorry about that. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's gonna take like another minute. Shit. Reach SS, defeat Thug Majima 2 times. Triple S. Defeat Majima in town. Defeat Majima in town 2 times. Defeat Majima in town 3 times. 4 times. Settle your score. Well, this one I'm just gonna get through very easily. Check the email. Check the email. Reach rank C, which I'm not there yet. Let's check the email. This is rank B. Rank B, and then zombie. Email. 40. And then... How many people here are able to hear what I'm saying right now? Also 3... Oh, hang on. How did that happen? Hang on. Here we go. Donk. Hello? You can hear? Nice, Dekus. Nice. You're subscribed to me is why. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Ah, okay. Bing. No. Okay, I'm good with what I am. Oh, phone call. Moshi Moshi. Welcome back, chat. Heading to the roof. It's only a matter of time until they catch up to me. What's particularly frustrating about the metaverse ads? I've been educated that they're actually really shit and don't say anything about themselves. Oh, that's the advertisements you get? The fucking metaverse? Alright, up the stairs we go. Need to finish this before Sergeant RSA lights the place up. Get down here now. Alright. Time to get into a fight. We're gonna run up the rooftop. Hi there, Morse! Welcome to the stream! You just missed out on a raid. It was really fun, hence why I'm like streaming for a little bit longer than normal. Plus we're what seems to be close to, I feel like we're close to a chapter end because we're like having to run up to a roof and shit. Okay, we can't go that, so we're going to go... Nice! Next door. Here we go. Bam! Just tossing people around. He was the key to unlock the door. Yeah, none of this Zelda shit. There we go. Ain't got time to deal with guns. Oh, come on. Alright, here we go. Is he... Okay, so he will... Oh, okay, so they are resistant to, like, just being, like, repeatedly grabbed. I thought it would be really funny if you could just repeatedly grab them like that. Like this. There we go. You can always raid yourself, Zeebs. Last time I got 2 amazing streamers. Yeah, I'll raid shortly. Don't you worry about me. Oh, Jesus. Well, fucker missed. There we go. Okay, blocking bullets is not a thing. Yes! That's how it's done! Thank you for the gun. Oh, I don't have the gun anymore. Oh, there's another one! Oh, hi Danny! Welcome to the stream! Hopefully you're doing alright! How's it going? How was Blinks the Time Sweeper? Oh gosh, I'm running over time. I need to be quick about this. 3, 2, 1, 0. Here we go. I need to be extra quick about this. There we go. Furious from stage 8. I have not played Blinks the Time Sweeper in like a very, very long time, so I have no clue who you're talking about. Also, I am relatively low on health. There we go. And I didn't get any didn't get shot by any bullets then. The hardest part, pain in the back for it. Oh, okay. There we go. Where the f- oh, okay. This way. There we are. Where the fuck is... Oh, upstairs. Here we go. Here we go. Bang. Love it. Alrighty. This beast, like, fighting style is so good for dealing with hotels. Ow. Hopefully this will be enough to kill him. Not enough. Was this made by Capcom? The art style reminds me of Dead Rising. No, it's done by Sega, a different company, or technically also by a company that's now called Like a Dragon. Let's go with this one. There we go. I have so many potions. And I couldn't roll. There we go. Alright, time to jump to the other side. How is he? Sega was the publisher, RGG Studios is the developer. Alrighty, next time there's like people with guns. next. There we go. Oh hey, another thingy-majiggy I can pick up potion-wise. If I know how to get... Oh, I can't get there from there. Okay, never mind then. There we go. Do I have the... Oh. Can you, like, just... God damn it. Why do you get to have a gun and dodge at the same time? I wasn't able to dodge when I had a gun. There we go. Oh! Oh, that was smooth. Kick him in the... Did it! Well, there was a lot of guns. Ah!
邪魔しないでください。
黙れ。
近づかんでください。これ以上あんたに組やらされたくないんだ。
お前シンジに銃向けて恥ずかしくないのか。お前らの兄貴分だろ。
Christ almighty, the weather, it's viciously warm right now. Yeah, it's viciously warm for me too. This is why, like, a lot of the nights I've been running my air conditioner while I sleep. The fuck?
撃ちたきゃ撃てよ。シンジは撃てて、俺は撃てねえのか。
何ちんたらやってんだバカ野郎。
Oh, hello. Kazuto Arase. Reina! Just shoot him with an end. Oh god, no. We got a fight to do. Alright, here we go. Yeah, she's like super dead. Air conditioning is not gonna save her. Oh fuck, I gotta contend with fucking bullets. Fuck, I have to deal with multiple people with bullets, asshole. Go. Oh, I gotta time his fucking rolls, don't I? Nope! He just has no fucking coordination with his rolls, does he? I thought I dodged that, but I guess not. I went to check on your bank account and the PayPal transfer went through, then fucking thing bounced on CNY. Thought your account got compromised or something. What is CNC? What is CNY? Oh my god. Sorry. I am now going to have to, like, focus on this fucking, like... This feels like one of the more annoying sword fights. This feels like one of the more annoying fights. Oh, Chinese New Year. Okay. Stop it! How am I supposed to deal with this bullshit? Oh my god, he's barely taking any hits, and I am taking all the hits. Like, look at this bullshit. How am I supposed to deal with this? Got the last of your January commissions done last Friday. Nice. Oh. Oh, come on. Let me just headbutt your ass. There we go. This is what I'm gonna do from now on, is I'm just gonna activate, like, that fucking thing. So then that way, like, I can, like, you know, I'll leap up and all that kind of shit, so then that way he doesn't have an opportunity to, you know, do his more firing bullshit nonsense. There we go, come on. So that's how you get the weapon out, okay. Oh my god. There we go. You deserve that. You deserve that. You honestly forgot about that boss fight. I feel like that was the worst one. But the good news is, with my model toy gun, I was able to take a few extra shots. And I now know how to activate, like, using the equipped weapon by just simply, like, pressing again on, like, the arms thingy-majiggy rather than going down to the bottom. Akemi. Alrighty. Oh, it's Yumi's ring!
Shinji. お前。Shinji.
Oh no. Well, that was sad. I was actually liking him. Like, he was in Yakuza 0 and was like, oh, I hate all Yakuza. And then it was like, oh, we proved to him that, like, there are some good Yakuza like ourselves, and he, you know, aimed to be like us. And now he's dead. Which is really unfortunate.
残念だったな。シンジとレイナは。
ここ以外に頼れるところがなかった。
No one else to leave him with.
分かってる。できる限り。
I guess Ray will have to pilot the Eva now. Get in the mech, Shinji. That's what happened to Shinji after he died in Yakuza. He got, you know, resurrected over in Evangelion Genesis.
そんな名前の女いくらでもいるぞ。それだけじゃな。
いや、そうでもねえ。
あ？
錦山組の田中の頭は実は風俗好きでな。知ってたか、桐生。
まあな。
ここ何年か奴が通ってる店がある。桃源郷ってソープだ。そこのナンバーワンが確か明美。
なるほどな。
ただしだ。そこは普通の店じゃない。ビル一軒丸々ソープになってるが、看板もねえし、パッと見じゃそれとわからねえ。しかも、一回遊ぶのに100万。
A million?
100万
Are you fucking serious? I don't have a million.
モデルやらが働いているんだ。選ばれた人間の遊び場さ。
Okay, I guess that's why there's like an entry fee of a million.
ソープって何？
その、まあ、風呂屋だ。
I'm guessing.
サウナか。
俺に振るな。
I'm guessing Soapland is meant to be like a sexy bathhouse. Where it's like, you got women being like, oh, let me just clean you and all that kind of shit. Cookie for Het!
どんなとこか知ってるよ。何日も歩いてたんだから。
こりゃ一本取られたな。
She just wanted to have the fun of figuring out which one of us was going to do the thing. In order to enter Shangri-La, you're going to need a Shangri-La membership card. Shaman Effect, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. Did you get here from a raid, or did you find me via, like, maybe one of the tags or the browsing? I'm wondering. In order, you're going to need a Shangri-La membership. Listen, there's a woman named Shinmie who used to work at Shangri-La. Now she works at a cabaret club called Shine on Pink Street. Finding her is your best chance at getting that card. You were part of Prey's raid? Nice. I'm glad you get. Thank you for the follow. What time is it? 9. Yeah. Normally I end the streams at 9 o'clock, and it's right now 9:30. So like. It's a little bit further than intended, so we're gonna save the game here, because we're now at chapter 11. We're at Honor and Humility, so we've only got like 3 more chapters, I think, because I think someone said there was like 13 chapters in total. So we're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it there, and oh, hang on, wrong button. There's the button that I want. We're gonna leave it there. We'll pick up on more Yakuza. Most likely next week, because Friday night is D&D night. I get to play that with Code the Yoshi. So that's going to be Friday night. And then Saturday morning, so if you're on the... So, for me, I'm in the Australian time zone. I'm like 10 hours ahead of Greenwich Mean Time. So, if the evening streams are like not 100% like, you know, suitable for your time zone, then maybe my Saturday morning should be your Friday evening. That one might be a good sort of... stream to go to, and as I'm catching up on the Final Fantasy XIV main story quest line, but yeah, otherwise, let's have a look at who we can go and raid tonight. Let's see, who is online. I need to have a look. Let's see. Ooh, okay, so if you want to know what Code the Yoshi is like, we're gonna go raid into Code the Yoshi. They are this, like it says on the tin, their name is Code, they're a Yoshi. They're right now playing Monster Hunter World, which at some point I gotta play a little bit more of that as well, but they're gonna be my buddy in Friday night D&D nights, so this might be a good time. So if you want to know what Code is like, stick around for the raid, alrighty then? So, alrighty then. If you are subscribed to me, you are... Alright, here we go. So, if you are subscribed to me, you can use the emotes as our raid message is gonna be Q-John. If you're not subscribed to me, that's okay. You can use whatever other kinds of emotes you have available for you that you think might be appropriate for a raid message, or, you know, the fact that we're arriving and what have you, okay? But yeah, I've got to go to bed shortly. I got work the next day. I have, and then, you know, Friday is another work day, but then, you know, Friday night, D&D night, so I hope to see you all there, or on Saturday. But otherwise, I want to say thank you everyone who came along to tonight's stream. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for, you know, getting me out of my stressful mindset and having me enjoy more of Yakuza Kiwami. And if you're still here lurking, thank you so much for the raid. Serpentine, thank you so much for the raid. I hope you all have a good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are, and hopefully I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.